Hello, this is Jonathan Falls. This is my video for the spring CPSC 4125 final project. I'm going to go over I'm going to go over the changes I made and implemented and show off the code. So, as well as the application running. To start, I know that this had the port 9010, and that's what the teacher originally had it running on for the client side. However, for me, for whatever reason, it didn't work, so I moved port 9010 to the back. It technically picks up the port 9010, but doesn't do anything with it. It only cares about this part. Some other changes on the app.js, which is one of the few client-side things that I touched. I just put in some calls to the app.get functions that I created, well, actually, it's technically their URLs for that purpose, which I believe it implements. Yeah, it basically puts them here, which effectively calls the app.get when it runs, or leads to the app.get when it gets called later on in this, when it runs, right here. Although, I didn't really put all this together. It was the teacher that did all this. So, put my API key in. And then here, I made, is this showing right? Yeah. Ooh. Here is where I have created the other two exports, module exports, with the alerts API call and the current API call for the weather API. They're basically the same as the API call the teacher provided. Excuse me. The main differences are they don't have a days parameter because I don't even believe that it is an option for the current or alerts API calls for the weather API. And they also have in the GitHub, currently they have the console log not commented out, so these technically still run, and as well as obviously the names of the calls themselves, of the functions. Moving on, I pulled them. I inserted their names so that I could pull them from the external API calls file. And then here, much the same as the API calls, the .gets are very similar to the teacher provided one. Main differences being, again, there is no query.days provided, as it is unnecessary. Well, actually, not just unnecessary. It's there's no reason to provide them, as there's no utilization of it anywhere. Obviously, the name change as well, but other than that, pretty much the same. Actually, basically exactly the same. Other than that, as the teacher provided app.get function. Aside from that, when I ran the npm install, it had some minor differences. I don't know what this was used for originally, but it wasn't required. And as you'll see, the app still runs just fine. And very minor difference here, the MyNode React app, which some of these changes are probably just for the node modules or for my version of npm or something to that nature. I think I still have it running, so we'll go ahead and close this out. And actually, what I'll do is I will quickly show off just the actual files themselves in their entirety so you can get a good look at them. Okay. And here, I actually attempted to record this video the first time, but there was quite a bit of static, so I decided to re-record. But I will just run this again. Actually, I haven't run this while having the client-side app up yet, so I'm not sure what it'll do, actually. So this will be an interesting test. It just opens another one. Oh, cool. And we'll just close that one. But first, before we look at this one, we're going to go ahead and look at this for the server side, just to show that it does in fact, the server side does in fact work as well. We will start. Doesn't have a home, so if you just go to the default location, it doesn't have a get to provide any kind of anything. However, we can, as you can see, if we provide the information necessary, it gives us the data from the API, which is, this data is being sent to the UI, and we'll see how it's used later. And just to show that all of them function, we'll do all three of them real quick. There's less data from the current, and as you'll see, even less data for the alerts, mainly because the forecast is pulling several days worth of information by the hour, and the current is only pulling for the current time, and the alerts is only showing any relevant alerts. And right now, the skies are pretty clear here in Columbus, Georgia, so there won't be too much on that front. However, let's just go ahead and check it out. As you see, not much here, basically just the location, time, and that kind of stuff. Alright, so moving on to the UI. Here we'll use a different zip code, still from Columbus, Georgia this time. This one is, I believe, the more southern part of the city. We'll start with the current, and as you can see, brings up the current weather. Interesting that it says sunny, even though it's just interesting, but you know. If we do forecast, we can see that it pulls 3 days in advance, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th, giving the data from each. And the view hourly works, I believe, for all of them. Yep. Okay. And the alerts, as you'll see, provides very little, just the location basically, because that's all there is. It's, as I said before, pretty clear outside. It's not really much going on at the moment. Just to show that it works with more than just those two and the state of Georgia, I will show Baghdad, Kentucky, which apparently there's also nothing really going on at Baghdad, Kentucky. As we can see here, it provides the data for Baghdad, Kentucky, as well as the hourly and such. All right. Well, this has been Jonathan Falls for the CPSC 4125 final. Thank you for your time.